Alright, so third time's a charm. We're gonna re-record this on Isabel's computer because my computer is terrible at recording things. So, we're gonna talk about the climate of New York, and I'm Lily Hogan, so let's get down to business. So, New York. We've all seen the millions of movies they make and maybe some Broadway plays if you're a nerd like me. But unless you've actually been there, you might be wondering how accurate the weather is in those films. If you're not, well, now you're curious, aren't you? The image in your head of this city is probably sunny all summer and snowy all winter. And this is because New York is a fairly mild climate. So it has a Mediterranean weather, which is what you imagine weather would be like when you are little, but then realize you live in California and will never see snow and just see fog and unbelievably sunny areas in the middle of winter. Metaphorically speaking. But why is weather like this? Well, one reason is latitude. If you stick a pin right where New York is on the map, you will land at, I apologize for any geography fans, 40 degrees. I get it. This is going to take a while. 40.7128 degrees north and 74.0060 degrees west. But I'm just going to say 41 degrees and 74 degrees because that's so much easier to do. But that's just more specific, I guess. But if you look on the map, you see that this city is like really close to the ocean. Zoom in, and it's completely surrounded by the harbor. New York is not directly on the equator or close to it, but of course you have to keep in mind that latitude is not the only contributing factor for weather, but this definitely would make New York much colder than some areas. Like, it's not going to be super warm like down by the equator. But then again, there are other contributing factors that make the weather like this, which I will get to. Where New York is on the map is about where the feral cell is in the global part of the universe. So, usually it's probably going to be sunny in the morning, but then drop back down at night, probably a couple degrees. All right. So another contributing factor is elevation. Since New York is only like 32 feet above sea level, which is like right here as opposed to right here, it can get much hotter than it would be on like a mountain because it can get much higher because the heat can get much higher because it's at a lower altitude. That's nice air to breathe too, much easier than if you were at the top of Mount Everest. If you're out of nature, at least. And it's also more susceptible. I don't know why I'm struggling today. I'm sorry. More susceptible to change as opposed to the top of a mountain, which is probably just going to be cold 99% of the time. So, the elevation is a big part. What also impacts the weather is ocean currents. New York is off of the Gulf Stream, which is this beautiful thing you might remember from that video we had to do in the YouTube bench assignment. And the Gulf Stream carries the heat up this way, but guess where New York is? Right by the Gulf Stream. And it carries the heat up, and it makes it nice and moist in New York, where it might probably be colder without the Gulf Stream there. So, especially if it were surrounded by the ocean. So, thank you, Gulf Stream. You are very helpful. So, what people hate about weather, me included, is wind. Because here's why. It could be sunny. Doesn't have to be snowing, but it could be sunny, and then it's just suddenly like, oh, it's going to be a nice day. Nope, psych, it's going to be super windy and make it super cold. Wind cools down land really fast and cools down people very fast. And if it gets super bad, it can actually fight against people and push them back. But this only happens rarely, but this will definitely make temperatures drop when it's supposed to be a nice day. And you were hoping to just go do something fun, but nope, too windy. So, what really affects New York is its proximity to water. We've already established that it is established by a harbor, but it's also surrounded by swamps, and the fact that it's barely above the water. This makes the weather mild, and it keeps it from overheating, and also cools it down. But the proximity to water is kind of a big deal since it's right by the Gulf Stream and right by the ocean, so that's it. Think about it. If this was just in the middle of like Colorado, if New York was there, it would probably look very different, and like if there was land surrounding New York, but there's not, so it's not like that. But it would probably be a lot colder, probably see maybe longer winters, that kind of thing. So New York isn't exactly very diverse when it comes to wildlife, but there are animals that do survive in it. The squirrel thrives on every single tree you see planted in the concrete, yet for some reason you never see any of them being run over. They are smart squirrels. I was so close to not accidentally missing that crap. Sorry, I apologize. This is just Lily. So the squirrel, they help plant trees, which makes them very popular among park rangers. So yay. The bat. It's a majestic bird-like creature that eats bugs and mosquitoes, but gets a bad rap even though they're super small and kind of adorable if you look at them very closely. Look at those little things. Look up little brown bats, so adorable. Better not touch though, they are not vaccinated. The opossum. The only marsupial. Oh, the only marsupial us Americans have, yet no one knows about since it's nocturnal and spends its time in its den or under a bush. The white-tailed deer. An animal you probably weren't expecting to see on this list, but surprise, they exist. These creatures will probably never be seen outside a park or a super green area, though. The fox. Mainly keeps to themselves and eats small animals, but also can easily adapt to the cities. Believe it or not, they're actually technically canines, which is a fact I did not know for so long. I thought they were just a mix of a cat and a dog. True facts, people. So, thank you for listening to me ramble about the climate in New York for a while. You have been an excellent audience. Thank you all.